Dylan, I'm waiting. Dylan!
Oh, I'm late. Craig is here. I get so busy knitting my ferret sweaters, I lose track of the time. Just wait a sec. I'm coming. Hey, it's Dylan McFluster, and I'm one of the stars, in my opinion, the biggest star of the new online adventure game called the Affinity. I'm here today interviewing Craig Robeson, the founder and president of Isodynamic, the developer of the Affinity. Hey Craig, welcome to the Affinity headquarters.
Hi, Dylan. Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Can you tell the audience at home what is the Affinity?
The Affinity is a new online adventure game that was designed expressly to help kids make a friend in the real world. It's targeted towards children who face social challenges, including those on the autism spectrum. It does this through an exciting story, compelling gameplay, and allowing kids to teach other kids about the rules of friendship.
Okay, Craig, why did you create the Affinity?
Well, we're very concerned about this broad trend towards social isolation. It's something that has been reported in the General Social Survey that over the last 30 years, many more people report that they don't have a single friend or confidant. And we know that this trend hits kids with autism particularly hard. The majority of them report that they don't have a friend, and this can often persist into adulthood. We know that it's a major health risk. It's greater than obesity, it's greater than smoking, and it's greater than high blood pressure. So we really wanted to do something about that. There's also a concern that social media and technology is not making us more social. As a matter of fact, there are concerns that we may be more connected to our phones than we are to other people. So we've created the Affinity, which is really about teaching the rules of friendship and letting kids know that it's not magic. It's really about learning the rules, and that's what we've tried to do here.
What are the elements of the Affinity?
The Affinity has three primary elements: an exciting story, compelling gameplay, and kids teaching other kids about the rules of friendship. We've included a story because we know that stories can be very powerful vehicles for learning. And we've used an architecture called the hero's journey. And that is a story architecture that's been used for literally thousands of years, all the way up from the Odyssey through today's most popular movies. And one of the important aspects of the hero's journey is the use of character archetypes. And an archetype is a character that really represents something more broadly within society. And so we've done that. We have our villains, an evil alien species called the Kragon, and they really represent trolls in modern day society. That is to say, they become more powerful and they gain energy by antagonizing others and generating negative emotions in them. And then we have our hero, a young 11-year-old boy named Max, who is very talented and has tremendous potential and is also on the autism spectrum. So it's really his task to learn about the rules of friendship, to learn about social rules, and to join a secret society called the Affinity in order to defeat the Kragon. We've delivered this story in comic book format. It's a digital PDF download that we hope to someday turn into a feature-length movie. Dylan. The next element is compelling gameplay. We've created custom activities around learning social rules, starting conversations, and the rules of cool. And our gameplay also includes just plain fun. We've included classics like a memory challenge, hangman, and picture puzzles. And the third element of the Affinity is kids teaching other kids. Most social skills curricula really use an adult expert model. That is, an adult teaching children about social rules and the rules of friendship. But we understand that teaching something, creating something, and sharing it with others can be a transformative experience, and it can also generate feelings of empathy in our players. So what we've done is created guided social media wikis where we ask our players to make contributions to those wikis. A big part of the Affinity is that we collect, codify, and share the wisdom of our players. And one of the primary messages is that friendship is really not magic. It's more about just learning the rules and being able to implement those rules.
Okay, Craig, what makes the Affinity... Excuse me.
Sup, dude?
What makes the Affinity different from other games?
The Affinity was really inspired by what's going on in the gaming world. And this is something that Jane McGonigal, the gaming expert, has talked about so eloquently in her TED Talks. Gamers can really develop a tremendous sense of optimism when they're playing. It can put them into a flow state. It can give them deeper meaning. And games can also create a powerful social fabric. So we've really tried to hack reality with the Affinity. Basically, that is to say, we're leveraging the power of games to engineer a positive real-world outcome, and that is ultimately to have our players make a friend. So we've done this in a variety of ways in the Affinity. We start with scenario-based learning. Next, we chunk that into a series of bite-sized activities where our players can practice and gain confidence. Next, we've developed a feedback system whereby players contribute to social media wikis and the other players on the adventure can rate those entries. And we feel like that's very important to have a feedback system with regard to social rules, since in the real world that's really broken. For instance, if you talk too long about a particular topic, people won't tell you that you've broken a social rule. They'll simply ostracize you. Next, we have a progression of risk. We start our players with low-risk activities, practicing skills on the computer, moving that to a medium-risk environment where they play with other online players, and then last, move that to the highest risk environment, and that's the real world. And finally, we've included well-being exercises. We ask our players to learn a secret handshake and teach it to others. So it's really best to think of the Affinity as a powerful social skills curriculum that's been melded with gaming from the ground up.
Now, Craig, can you tell us a little bit more about Isodynamic?
Isodynamic is a boutique technology firm, and we have been developing web applications and e-learning courses for almost 20 years. Most of that has been within the healthcare arena, including a variety of courses around autism, as well as depression and the diagnosis of mental illness. We've had the good fortune of partnering with Rondalyn Whitney, who has a PhD in occupational therapy and is a fellow in the Occupational Therapy Association. She has literally decades of experience working with kids and families affected by autism. I also want to give my particular thanks to Rich Ricardo Devono, who is a creative genius and has been instrumental in the development of the comic book, of all of the animations and the characters, and bringing an overall creative approach and a fun approach to the game that's been developed.
Who might benefit from the game?
We believe that there are two primary areas where the Affinity can be used. The first is as a curriculum within schools, and secondly, targeted towards parents to play with their kids. And that can be done within the context of a homeschooling curriculum or something that's just on their own, done on their own for fun and for their own development.
As the founder of Isodynamic, what can you tell us about entrepreneurship?
The Affinity has been an exciting journey into entrepreneurship. We are completely self-funded, and it has been a very elite group, shall we say, who has created the game. Okay, it's two of us.
Oh.
And finally, we're looking for other allies to accompany us on this adventure. So if you're interested in what we've said and what we're doing, we would love to hear from you and have a discussion about how we might work together.
Hey, Craig, thanks for stopping by. That was really interesting.
It was great to see you, Dylan. Thanks very much.
And we hope to see all of you at home online at theaffinitygame.com.
Take 6.
The new online adventure game, The Infinity. What did I say?
Okay, let's do that one again, please. Take 29.
The new online adventure game, The Trinity. Oh!
Okay, let's focus, people. Take 74.
The new online adventure game, The Affinity. Wait, did I say Affinity?
For the love of manicotti, can we please focus?
And finally, the games are just plain fun. We've included classics like Hangman, memory puzzles, and
Help! I can't find my way out to the stage. Hello, Cleveland. Can we just finish this interview later? I can't put down this comic book.
I could really use another cup of coffee. I am dragging out here.
And now, I'd like to introduce... Wait, what was your name again?
Hey, Dylan, can I give you a hand? Is this a good look for me? I mean, with the bald thing and everything? Oh yeah, that's better. That's better. Can I get some powder?
The Affinity. The Affinity. The Affinity. Oh!